watching Weasel News.
Your Honor, defense, and people of the state, today you will hear a case where officers' lives were put in danger and shot at for doing their job, to protect and serve. On April 24, 2023, officers responded to an active robbery in Sandy Shores and then a vehicle pursuit with a grey tailgater S on Los Santos Freeway. A high-speed chase ensued citywide until the vehicle was disabled on Boulevard Del Perro. The suspects fled on foot, then began opening fire on officers. 4 officers to be exact: 226 Kelly Price, 538 Walter Davenport, 215 Lady Bishop, and Delta 47 Carlos Rubio. All officers of the law, all doing their job to protect and serve, and all put in danger and at risk of not returning to their families, the risk of being killed in the line of duty. For what? Trying to do their due diligence and protect the people of Los Santos. Today you will hear the defense argue that Mr. Sinclair-McFall did not shoot at all officers. However, under H.R. 124, the Crime Crisis Act, Section 5, under this legislation, law enforcement may charge all involved parties with the same count of murder charges in any form, even if you're not the individual responsible for shooting every victim. The accused must be identified as a participating party in the crime. A participating party shall be defined as an accused person who actively participated in the commission of the offences. You'll hear today that Mr. Sinclair-McFall was in that grey tailgate S fleeing from the police. He then got out, fled on foot, shot at officers, hijacked a red Issy weenie, fled from police, and shot officers again, before he was incapacitated. Therefore, Mr. Sinclair-McFall did in fact partake in the attempted murder of officers. Today you will hear from officers' testimony and the evidence presented to the courts that on April 24, 2023, Mr. Sinclair-McFall was a participating party involved in the 4 counts of aggravated attempted second-degree murder. So under H.R. 124, we request for the courts to find Mr. Sinclair-McFall guilty of the charges being placed upon him. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, prosecution. Okay, now we're going to move to the defense to commence their opening statement.
The prosecution today will tell you this is an open shut case regarding officer safety. To a degree, yes. However, I intend today to show that the reports and evidence are inconsistent at best and lacking in substance. As the prosecution has mentioned, this started at a 24/7, turned into a pursuit. After that vehicle crash, several suspects made the choice to fire on responding officers. However, as mentioned before, and by the police's own account, Ivan chose to flee instead of participating in that violence. In that same police report, there is a notable confusion over who was injured and how. And only 3 corroborating medical reports have been made available to support the claim of who was injured. As mentioned, the charges levied against Ivan today are based on the Crime Crisis Act, which allows law enforcement to apply murder charges onto every participating member of the incident if there are 4 or more counts of that charge. I will show today that there are only 3 provable injured parties in this incident, making the application of the Crime Crisis Act inappropriate. The defendant, Ivan Sinclair-McFall, is a man who is not afraid to take his punishment. But when he sees a situation as unjust, despite knowing that the court system is punishing and long, as we all have felt here, he chose to temporarily cede his personal freedom for a chance at a just decision here. By the end of these proceedings, I believe you will see that the only fair verdict is not guilty. Thank you.
One of the Hall visits here. It might have been Hunt. I don't know. It was here for the Woodville.
Okay, thank you,
one
defense. You may
across
take
the
a
hall, I
seat.
think.
With that being said, opening statements are now concluded. We're going to go to the submission of evidence portion of this trial. With that being said, prosecution, you may call your first witness or present your first piece of evidence to the stand.
Perks of having 3 courtrooms now, you got. There's one at the City Hall.
At this
There's one at
time,
City Hall here,
the
too.
state will direct your attention to Exhibit 18B. It's going to be a GSR test of Mr. Ivan Sinclair-McFall, coming back as high intensity.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, it almost.
This shows that the defendant clearly shot while he was involved in this incident.
Yeah.
Can I get that exhibit number 1 more time?
Of course, Your Honor. That is going to be Exhibit 18B, part of CM 119.
Awesome. Okay. 18B. Got
it. Furthermore, we would like to...
Evidence.
Ooh, you got escort out of the county?
Furthermore, I would like to direct your attention to the evidence reports that were submitted as part of sealed evidence, which is going to be Exhibit 21E through 21I, and then refer you back to Exhibits 21A through 21D that shows the connection between the officer's DNA to the blood samples that were found on scene.
Gotcha. Exhibit 21A to I is so entered.
Sorry, give me just a moment, Your Honor. I'm just looking over everything one more time.
Don't mind, to be honest.
With all of the DNA having been referenced by this point, Your Honor, we would like to direct you to exhibits 3B,
Head Ranger Dave Brown.
7A, 7B, 8,
Yeah.
9A, 9B, 9C, and exhibit 11.
I hate my department so much. Yeah, I do, really.
Okay.
This is going to be the multiple samplings of blood that were found on scene, as well as a couple casings and other.
In the case, just submitting evidence to the docket or to the court. With that being said, is now the defense's opportunity to have their submission of evidence. The defense wants to call their first witness or present their first piece of evidence. They may do so now.
Okay. Real quick, I will call your attention to Exhibit B in relation to the medical reports or lack thereof. That's it for me on that. And also, if required, the Crime Crisis Act, I would also like to bring to your attention.
Okay, HR 124, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. That is all I need on the evidentiary side, and then after that, I'm happy to call a witness.
So you just submitted Exhibit B, Defense Exhibit B, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Okay. You're good to go.
Okay. I would like to call Sergeant Lainey Bishop to the stand.
Gross.
Okay, Sergeant Bishop.
Can you raise your left hand or both hands? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
She's been sworn.
Right. Oh no, that's a lie.
Yeah, don't mind the chair. They're kind of a pain.
Yeah. I'll just stand behind it if that's okay.
That's fine with me. Hello, Lainey. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Okay, so let's see. Where should we start? Let's start with were you in charge of sentencing Mr. Sinclair-McFall?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a copy of the Crime Crisis Act on hand, or are you familiar enough with it?
I do.
Okay.
Doubt it.
Okay. Could you please explain the Crime Crisis Act and how it's applied in your profession?
Yes. When 4 or more officers are injured on a scene from a shooting, all participating parties of the suspects are charged with the same counts of aggravated attempted second-degree murder, whether they or not they shot at all the officers involved.
Thank you. Oh,
No,
feel free
I'm
to
good.
continue.
No, I'm
good. All right. So this was mentioned before, but just to make sure we have it from you, which officers were injured?
You would have Officer 226 Kelly Price, Walter Davenport, I'm sorry, I don't remember his call sign right offhand, Delta 47 Carlos Rubio, and myself, Sergeant Laney Bishop.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Let's see. So, taking a look through the reports here, can I ask how and when were you injured?
I was injured during the shootout with the okay, exactly how? What do you mean how and when?
Okay, let me narrow that. I apologize. Were you injured at the Cougar Avenue scene?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Can you detail the events around that injury, please?
So, as I was attempting to catch up to the chase, because at one point I had spun out on Bay City Incline, shots rang out on two different spots on officers. One of them was on Walter Davenport. The other one was on Kelly Price. Kelly Price was closer to me, so I routed to her to see her chasing one of the suspects on foot. I got out of my car, helped her to down that individual while Kelly was downed in the process as well. At that point, Detective Rubio had routed over towards me. We secured the suspect. We were trying to get Kelly secured as well.
She's got a victim mentality.
And at that point in time, two individuals rounded the corner from Bay City Ave, opened fire on officers. Rubio and myself returned fire down on the first suspect. The second suspect, who was later identified as Ivan Sinclair-McFall, ended up putting down his weapon, still in a red AC track vehicle, and hijacked a woman out of the vehicle and took off with the vehicle, opening fire on officers, and he was incapacitated a couple seconds later.
Okay. I apologize if I missed it. At what point in those events did you get injured?
When the two individuals rounded the corner and fired upon officers.
Okay. Did you ever seek medical assistance for that?
Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
Yes, I was treated by Dr. Z.
Okay. When did you seek medical assistance?
When we had everybody else at the hospital.
Okay, Miss Baker, just 1 second.
Yeah, you good.
To the person who's on my right side, to the left of the courtroom, who just said, that sounds like a lie, I'm going to give you one and final warning. If you're going to speak up, I'm going to hold you in contempt. This hearing is trying to be professional, and we're trying to remain polite and courteous at all times, but we don't need that sort of yelling. Even if you weren't yelling, we can hear it, okay? So if you can keep your voices down, that would be absolutely amazing. Miss Baker, you can continue.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I just railed there. So you got treatment at the time that everyone was brought to the hospital, correct?
Yes. At that time, we had 3 suspects down. We had multiple officers get a treatment, as well as there was a couple other active scenes going on at that time. So I had to see Dr. Z.
Okay, I got you. So let me ask, why was there no medical report returned for that incident?
I don't know. I mean, I saw Dr. Z. I'm not sure exactly, how to file medical report for seeing Dr. Z. So.
Okay. Okay. 1 second on that. Let me check something real quick. Pardon. All right. Okay. Let's rewind a little bit in that incident. So you mentioned you joined that vehicle pursuit. How would you characterize that vehicle pursuit? You had some colorful language in your police report.
It was extremely hazardous to the citizens of Los Santos, constantly driving on the wrong side of the road, on the freeways and stuff, trying to get officers to hit other local vehicles and other civilian vehicles. It was extremely hazardous.
All right. Oh, sorry to hear that. Did you have any trouble in following? Did you?
We never lost sight of the vehicle.
Oh, nice. Okay. Did you ever, fall prey to maybe a local scrape up against anything?
No.
All right. Is there at any time in that very rough pursuit where you think you maybe could have acquired an injury?
No.
Okay. when you sought assistance for your medical, what was the exact nature of your injury, if you don't mind?
I took multiple impacts to my vest, which left bruising and a fractured rib, and a shot through my shoulder.
Okay. And then you went on directly to sentencing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is it typical for someone who's been grievously injured to do sentencing afterwards?
That is why I took over from primary. Primary on that scene at that point was Kelly Price. She was a lot more injured than I was. So I took over sentencing, and yes, it is typical.
Okay. So let's switch tacks here. Detective Rubio. Could I let's see here. In his report of the incident, he does not at any point mention being injured. I understand that we have some DNA on file here. Can you advise to me how you became aware of his injury?
Afterwards, I had gathered up all of the police officers that was involved in this scene and asked who was injured on scene, and he was one of the ones that stated he had been injured on scene.
Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Did he ever, when you were there, did you witness him getting medical treatment at the hospital?
Yes.
Okay. Did he see the same doctor as you?
Yes, he saw Dr. Z as well.
Okay. Let's see here. You mentioned four people injured, but I didn't actually hear you list Denozo. Is there a reason why he was left off that list?
He stated he had been injured too, but I was unsure as I hadn't seen him getting treatment. So I only went with the 4 that I knew I could prove, and so he was left off that list. Instead of charging him with 5 counts, we only charged him with 4.
All right. Okay. So, back again to Cougar Avenue. Let's discuss some evidence. Are you familiar, have experience with collecting evidence, in particular DNA?
Yes.
Okay. When DNA is collected, is there any way to analyze the nature of when that DNA or how that DNA occurred?
I can tell you that the DNA was collected right after the shooting happened while we was actually still on scene. I assigned officers, one of them who was a Delta unit, Brittany Page, to start collecting evidence.
Okay.
Carlos Rubio himself collected evidence as well as we were finishing up and getting people transferred to the hospital.
While he was injured?
Yes, that is a very common tactic among officers, especially if we don't have enough units to spare and we don't want the integrity of the samples getting compromised.
In your professional opinion, would Mr. Rubio with an open wound wandering around the crime scene not contaminate it?
Yes, it could.
Okay. Given that, I'll kind of return back to my question. I'll restate it because I think it was a little confusing. When you look at the DNA,
if I can say one thing.
yeah. Go ahead.
Rubio collected evidence from over where Davenport was injured. Rubio's DNA was not collected from over in that sentence. I had Brittany collecting evidence over from where Rubio and myself were injured. So there's no possible way his DNA could have been contaminated in that scene if he had not been hit already on that scene.
It's a little tricky because we don't have him, but just as a follow-up to that, is it possible someone who was severely injured in a lot of pain might have made any mistakes in collection, in your experience?
I mean, if they're in too much pain to be collecting evidence, they would have said so.
Yeah, but you guys are proud. Like, have you ever run into a situation where someone really wants to help, you are down bad on officers, and they just tough through?
Yes, I've done it before myself on other cases.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. How well do you know Detective Rubio?
Extremely well. I also trained him when he was coming through his cadet phase, and he's been a very instrumental part.
Could you let me out, please?
We got a little objection, so I'll let her handle that.
Thank you. This question's irrelevant. Her connection to Rubio has no relevance to this case.
I would argue that my next question, it's setting up my next question, which does have relevance.
Okay, I'll allow it as a foundation question, but if the next question does not have relevance, I'll strike it all from the record.
Excuse me,
Do you understand that,
can I
Ms.
be let
Baker?
out?
Understood. In your history and long experience with Detective Rubio, do you know him to be a person who might tough out in situations where he might not be thinking clearly and may affect the sanctity of the evidence or scene for the sake of helping his peers?
Detective Rubio, if he is not thinking clearly, he will go and get medical treatment and pull off a scene. But he was thinking clearly that night, so he collected evidence from where Davenport was shot down. I had Brittany collect evidence from where myself, Rubio, and Kelly Price were injured.
I would do a quick correction of you probably don't know the inside of Mr. Rubio's mind, so just looking for a general character.
Then why are... I'm sorry, never mind. I'm not gonna...
No, I get you. I do. Just a general overview. I just want to make sure that we're clear that you did not understand his specific thoughts at that time. Okay, let's move on to some other things. Apologies, I have like 8 million questions. Let's see. At the Cougar Avenue scene, you have stated that you say that Mr. Sinclair-McFall shot at that scene. That is your belief? Okay.
Yes.
Were any casings matching his gun found at that scene?
No. There was a lot of casings from that scene in the later scene that were malformed.
Okay. What does malformed mean?
That we weren't able to return a microstamp.
Okay, gotcha. So you also mentioned, did you see Mr. McFall or Sinclair McFall flee from the scene and Red Issy, it looks like?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was kind of a muscle spasm. I'm so sorry.
Good to get familiar with you. It's a very intimate sort of situation. All right. With that, I think I'm actually good. I appreciate your time. Feel free.
Trumping up charges just because you can, right?
Shush.
Give me one.
No, it's okay, Your Honor.
Hi.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Excuse me? I'm just saying, you got a corrupt cop up there that likes to trump up charges and make up witness statements. It's kind of fucking crazy. I mean, it's fucking true.
Ma'am, do you want to stand up for me? Now, okay, can I get your name? Please state your full name for the court, just while you're
Nah, I
addressing
don't think I
everyone here.
will. I don't think I will.
Ma'am, this is my courtroom. We're in active
I
session.
don't
I'm
give
holding you in
one
contempt
fuck.
of court.
I don't give
I
one
need your
fuck.
full name.
I don't give one fuck. You gotta corrupt cop up on the stand who doesn't know how to tell the truth. She likes to make up witness statements and shit like that. She's fucking wild, dude.
Okay. If I can
Imagine.
have the officers escort her to the holding cell.
No, you ain't gonna
we will
fucking
be
touch
waiting
me.
for a recess afterwards. And we were
You
going
can
to
touch
hold
me.
her in criminal contempt as well as failure to obey a lawful order for answering the name or question me asking
I don't
for
give
her
a shit.
name. Sorry, everyone, for this little bit of a hiccup.
Fucking try to touch me. Don't fucking touch me. Did you see that shit? Fuck. Touch me, and I'll fuck you up.
Oh boy.
That was a pretty impressive cuff while she was swinging.
Fucking imagine, dude. Get the fuck away from me. Get away from me.
Ma'am, come on.
Let's
go.
Away from me.
Where?
Motherfucker. Lainey, you enjoy being corrupt, all right? You go ahead and enjoy that shit. One day it's gonna stop flying. It ain't gonna go. Fucking watch that. Cause you like playing like the fucking victim, but you're really not. You bring everything on your fucking self, you stupid bitch.
Now, I just want to make it
You
very clear for
stupid
everyone in the
bitch.
courtroom that I am trying to hold this court case for this
Hey,
person.
let go
I
of
just want to
me.
try and get this continued.
Fucker.
So if everyone can just please try and take a seat while we
off
try
me.
and move this out. This would be
Bye, Lainey,
highly
you
and greatly
stupid skank.
appreciated.
No, that's a good.
No. I'm just trying to think of numbers.
You
If
wanna
anybody
keep
comes up,
this shit up?
just
Go ahead. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I'm
if you
not
could
scared
just-
of you.
if
Nobody's
don't
scared
mind
of
waiting,
you.
just 'cause we're having a little bit of trouble
Corrupt
in the courtroom.
fucking cop.
But once that's all
What
cleared
a
up, we
fucking
will
shame.
let you in. Is that all right? Thank you. Just a loud person in the gallery. I do not, unfortunately.
Okay, with that being said, we're going to continue on. If everyone wants to take a seat, we can continue from here. Now is the opportunity for the state to cross-examine the
Thank you so
witness
much,
if they
Your
wish to do
Honor.
so.
Thank you so much. Hello, Lainey. How are you doing? Sorry, Sergeant Bishop.
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm okay, thank you. I just have a few questions. At what point did Mr. Sinclair-McFall partake in this incident?
Yeah, I just need to look inside the
From the beginning when you robbed the store.
Okay. And how were officers able to positively ID Mr. Sinclair-McFall?
We never lost sight of the vehicle. We had officers continue to chase the red Issy after he had already opened fire on officers and then hijacked the red Issy, flee from police until he was incapacitated. He was GSR tested on scene and his mask was removed on scene.
Okay. And at no point did officers lose sight of Mr. Sinclair-McFall?
That is correct.
Okay. As your experience as an officer, how common is it for a bullet casing to come back inconclusive?
I'd say there's probably about sometimes a 50% chance of it coming back inconclusive. It just depends on how hard it hits the ground.
Okay. And are there other ways for an officer to be able to determine if an individual shot at a crime scene?
Be officer testimony, the bullet casings, the GSR test.
Okay. I'm just going to speak with my co-counsel and see if we have any more questions for you, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. There's no more questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Awesome. Okay. Did the defendant have any
Andreas Tower.
redirects for the witness?
Yes, please. Just a short one.
Go for it.
Hi again, lady.
Hello.
So, in relation to identifying if someone is shot or not.
Yes.
Could you tell from the evidence that there were bullet casings that matched who was done at the second scene, where there was fire exchange between my client, Mr. Denozo?
The second scene, all those casings came back.
The front is covered now. We've got a lot of people out here.
Okay. All right. Is it possible that the GS?
We're going to be
Yeah, I'll get one person out here.
en route to LSIA. We're going to be forming air training.
Thank you.
The last one with Denozo. I can restate that. That kind of got clumsy.
It was all part of the same scene, ma'am. Just because he fled from that one scene, it continued on to the next scene.
Okay. Well, just for the sake of ironing that out, is it possible that identifying measure, like you just said, how do I identify if I cannot get bullet casings? It was gunshot residue is one of them. Is there any way that you can confirm that gunshot residue came from the incident at Cougar and not at the last part of that scene?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you again.
Okay. Does they have any recross?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Awesome.
Thank you. Hello, Sergeant Bishop. I just have one question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Just because somebody, wait, let me reword this. Sorry. If somebody moves from one area of a scene to another, does that still make it the same crime scene?
It still does. They were just fleeing from that one crime scene.
Okay, that's all the questions I had. Thank you.
Okay, Sergeant Bishop, you have been released. Do note that you may get called back, but I don't imagine it. Please just remain present in the courtroom at this time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What the court's going to do is take a 5-minute, or we'll make it 10-minute recess. We're going to deal with the contempt of court issue with the other individual currently in holding, and then we'll come back and continue with the defense exhibits if they have any. With that being said, 10 minutes will start now. We're going to meet back, I'll say just 40 past the hour, which will be 11-minute recess.
Thank you.